So in order to get into that, I'm going to ask you a few questions. So if you want to pull out your cell phones or a piece of paper, we're going to write a couple questions down or answers to questions. Okay. So the first question, this is a stress state check-in. So the first question is, what is the dominant emotion that I am carrying in this moment right now? So this is just a practical application of interoception, turning inward and asking yourself, what emotion do I feel? What emotion am I carrying? And it can be more than one. The second question is, what physical sensations am I aware of right now? And I want you to just be as non-judgmental as possible. So maybe you notice the clothing on your arms. Maybe you notice the chair that you're sitting on. Maybe your heartbeat is a little bit fast. But just notice, take note, create awareness. And then the third question is, what expectations am I carrying? What are the shoulds that I'm carrying? What should I be doing? That is cognitive perfectionism. And we just want to create awareness around that. Okay. And then when you're done with those questions, I want you to find a comfortable place to sit. So you can either sit on your floor crisscrossed, you can sit in hero's pose, which is stacking your shoulders on top of your hips and then placing your quads on top of your shin bones. Or you can just sit comfortably in the seat that you're sitting in. We're going to get started directly into box breathing. If you feel comfortable closing off your eyes for this section, you can keep your video on or off. Box breathing is really good for interoception, which is your internal awareness, because you're creating an inhale, holding for 4, creating an exhale, and then holding for 4 at the bottom of your exhale. So you're sort of paying attention to the focus of the count. You're paying attention to how you're feeling. You're paying attention to how you're bringing the air in. So we're just going to go ahead and get started with that. So you're going to inhale through your nose for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold at the bottom for 4, 3, 2, 1. And then exhale through your mouth for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 4, 3, 2, 1. And then we're going to repeat that 5 times. So you're going to inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to have you continue to do the 4 count in your brain, and I just want you to think about some of these questions, okay? So as you inhale, what does it feel like to expand your belly? What does it feel like to control your inhalation into your body? As you hold at the top, what does it feel like to control your breath? And as you exhale and release, what does it feel like to let that go? Breathwork can create control and empowerment. It can make us feel satiated in our experience. It moves us from a state of sympathetic nervous system activation, which is your fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, into your parasympathetic nervous system, which is your rest, digest, and restore. It can help decrease your cortisol, which is your stress hormone. It can also get your heart rate back to a moderated, balanced state. So just by doing this inhalation for 4, holding for 4, exhaling for 4, holding for 4, you are doing all of those things neurochemically and neurobiologically to your body. I see some people yawning, which is wonderful because that means that the breath work is working, which means you're moving into that parasympathetic state. So we're going to move on to another breath work called lion's breath. This one, we're going to draw in through your nose. You're going to expand down to your hip bones where your diaphragm is in your lower belly. You're going to pretend like you're creating a wave sort of. So your diaphragm's going to expand your lower belly. Then you're going to inflate your lungs and pretend like your rib cage is pulling away from each other. And then as you exhale, you're going to stick out your tongue and create a sound like a lion. Okay. So this helps you pull in to your diaphragmatic breathing. And then it also signals to your nervous system when you stick your tongue out and create that sound that you are safe. Okay. So it moves you into that parasympathetic nervous system. So let's all inhale through your nose, draw your inhalation down through your lower belly, draw it in, expand through your lungs, open your intercostal muscles, pull in one more sip of air, and then release it all. Let's do that one again. Take a big inhale this time, draw even more air into your belly like you're expanding a balloon down there. Open up your rib cage, maybe hold up at the top at your heart, and then stick out your tongue. I love this one because it's silly, right? Like it's called lion's breath. It's kind of silly to do. When I teach it in a yoga class, people are always a little bit awkward at first, and then they really get into it. But it truly signals to your body, hey, I'm safe here. So if you think about getting nervous right before a game or before a practice that means a lot to you, or even before a test, right? If you do a couple lion's breaths before you walk into that performance-based activity, you're going to feel like you're gaining more control of your body, and you might feel a little bit more calm and intentional in that space. Okay. Let me see. The next one that I have for you is Nadi Shovana, which is one nostril breathing. So this, you're going to get your ring finger out. Can I see everybody's ring finger up high? And then your thumb. So you're kind of creating like a, surfer's high, but with your ring finger. You're going to stick your ring finger on one of your nostrils, and then you're going to stick your nose, or rather your thumb on your other nostril. What we're going to do is pull in air, holding one nostril. You can decide which one you're going to start with first. Let's all start with your thumb. So plug one of your nostrils. You're going to inhale for 4. So you inhale, and then you exhale out of that same nostril for 4. Then you switch. So then you stick your ring finger on the opposite nostril, and you inhale through your other nostril that you weren't using for 4. And then you exhale for 4. So you're going to, and then you switch. So inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale out the same nostril for 4, 3, 2, 1. Then switch. Inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Now we're going to switch to 5 counts. Inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, same nostril. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Switch. Inhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now we're going to inhale for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Switch for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So the Sanskrit word for that nostril breathing is nadi shovana, and it literally means channel clearing breath. Okay. So you're clearing out your channels. It's been used in the yoga philosophy for over 6,000 years, believe it or not. So monks over in India were doing nadi shovana to calm their nervous systems before they would go sit in temple all day long. And they would also do the asana yoga practice that you've seen in yoga classes before they would go sit in temple as well. So all of these practices have been practiced for thousands and thousands of years, which is kind of cool if you think about it, because like they were working without all the scientific information, and we've adapted it, and now we have so much more information on evidence-based research as to why it works for our bodies. So with breath work, just like with your mental health, things work differently for different people, right? So when I'm working with patients, for example, if we talk about something and it doesn't resonate and it doesn't fit, then as a clinician, I need to figure out what works better for them. So those options that we just went through are different ones that you can try out over the next week and decide which ones you really love or don't love. And, if you love two of them, then I would use them every single day. If you feel like they were ridiculous and silly and you only want to do them in your dorm room, that's totally great. Or maybe you can have your entire team doing some nadi shovana back and forth before you go in and start a practice to get everybody in the collective space and collective energy at the same time. Okay. So next we're going to pivot over and I'm going to talk to you about some meditation strategies. How many of you do meditation? Just a show of hands. Amazing. Okay. Maybe half and half. I, as a recovering perfectionist, did not like meditating at all. And then I became a yoga teacher and I still didn't like meditating because as high performers that like all of you are, it is really hard to slow your body down, to not do to-do lists all the time, to not feel like you're constantly going, right? So meditation is the opposite of running really fast or studying for a test, right? But it's the opposite of what we typically do is normally what we need the most of, especially when it comes to our mental health symptoms, right? Like we all have a few mental health and mental well-being symptoms that we constantly are needing to touch base on and make sure that they're kind of in line, right? And so meditation is a really great strategy to pull you out of the things that you're doing in your life when you're rushing through life and move you into a state of connecting, controlling, powering down, resetting. Okay. So the reason I shared with you that I didn't like to do meditation is because I just want to model to you that it's really normal, right? If you're a high performer, to not want to do these things that slow us down. So there are a few meditations that feel like you're actually activated and doing stuff. And so those are the things that I like to do. The first one is a walking meditation. So all of you can do this, okay? All you have to do is walk outside of your dorm room or your apartment and go for a walk. Put your phone on airplane mode or just, put it in your purse or your bag and don't pay attention to it. And your job is to draw awareness to all of your senses. So notice the trees that are lined the streets. Maybe stop and look at a branch and try to count how many new leaves have popped up on one branch, and just sit there and count. And then ask yourself, like, how many colors of green are on this one leaf, right? Or then go over and find a patch of tulips and count how many tulips you see. And then draw your awareness into your ears and notice the things that you hear. So do you hear birds chirping? Do you hear cars going by? You can also notice what you feel. So the air comes by and sort of, makes you feel a little chilly and you notice that. Or maybe you feel the radiating heat now that it's turning into summer on your face and on your body. And you just notice what that feels like, okay? Maybe you notice the pace of your steps and what it feels like for your feet to be touching your socks, that are touching your shoes, that are touching the earth. These are things that we do automatically, but if we slow down and notice them and pay attention, bring awareness into it, we actually go into that theta wave state, which is the flow state that often a lot of you feel when you're playing your sport. Like when you get into that space where you're just like, oh, I'm so in love with this thing, right? That is normally your flow state. And so if you go out and do this meditative walk, perhaps you can get into a flow state in a totally different experience, one that's opposite of go, go, go. So it's retraining your body and your brain. Hey, I can get into these spaces and it doesn't have to be in competition only or high performance only. So it's really good for you. The other one that I like to do is meditative cooking. And you can do this in a dorm room. Like you could even do meditative cooking if you're going to make some ramen noodles for yourself in the microwave. It's really easy. Your job is just to focus on the touch of the things that you're preparing, the sounds that you hear, the experience of what the food looks like. So the colors of the different foods, the textures, maybe like if you cut a cucumber, for example, you count how many seeds are in the cucumber. Like how many of us are doing this type of stuff? Can I get a yes or a it's so hard, right? Like you're not going to sit there consciously going, oh, I am spending all of my time counting how many cucumber seeds are in this cucumber that's about to feed me. But it creates awareness and it also slows you down and oftentimes gives you a state of gratitude, right? Because it's nature. It's like this gift of, wow, this is cucumber is about to nourish me. It has 40 seeds in it. I didn't even notice. How cool is this? Like, thank you, for having this cucumber with all these seeds. And then you get a little dopamine high, which is your neurotransmitter, that's your feel good transmitter. And then that makes you feel grateful and creates gratitude. And gratitude then moves you into a state of joy. Joy is our most euphoric emotion that embodies the best version of ourselves. So just by stopping and saying, wow, there were 291 ramen noodles in this little cup of ramen that I heated up, you can move from feeling kind of meh into a more joyful, euphoric state just by stopping and doing meditative cooking. So the thing that I love about mental wellness and mental well-being is that it's like tweaking a few strategies in life that we're already doing all day, every day, right? Like you're cooking for yourself, you're going on walks, you're breathing. So why not add more interoception and awareness and a continuation of how to apply gratitude and joy? It's that simple, right? Okay. So, oh my gosh, I just looked at the clock. Um, I could go on and on about all this. Another one that you can do is gratitude and mindful eating. So you're sitting, maybe after practice, you sit down in the cafeteria and you're like, okay, I'm not really enthused about whatever is on my plate, but there's, the salad that I'm excited about, or maybe the sandwich, and you sit and you eat it and you take a bite and you just notice all the textures in your mouth. You notice what it tastes like. You say, ooh, I really am glad I added the mustard to this sandwich. It makes it a lot more spicy and delicious. So, I'm grateful that I added this. So that's mindful cooking, paying attention to how many times you chew and like bite down on your food. Maybe being excited and grateful for the experience of having your other teammates around you or your friends around you, and just being aware of the social connectivity that you're having, that can also increase that joy as well. So I'm going to ask Leanne, I had like a 5-minute meditation to run through. We got time for that? Okay, cool. Okay. If you are able and feel comfortable, if there is a place to lay down where you are, I highly encourage you to lay down for this. We're going to do a 5-minute meditation. It's called going through the koshas, and The koshas are like the mind layers in yoga. If you cannot lay down, then that's fine. Just find a comfortable seat. And when you're ready, if you feel safe, close off your eyes, trusting that my voice will guide you through this space. Take a big inhale through your nose, draw it down to your lower belly, expand again through your lungs, and exhale through your mouth. Release it all. Keep your eyes closed for the remainder of this practice. And I want you to just find a breath, an inhalation and an exhalation that feels comfortable for you. No pushing, no resistance. Just let it be the breath that feels comfortable. And as you do that, I want you to bring awareness to your body, the one that trains and competes. Scan it from your head to your toes. Perhaps you notice the clothing touching your skin, your legs touching the ground or the chair that you're in. Perhaps you notice any tension or fatigue or areas in your body that are working hard. Just notice and observe. Try not to cast any judgment. Your body isn't just something to push, it's feedback. Feedback for your existence. Now shift your attention fully to your breath. Take a breath in through your nose. Draw the air towards your sits bones. Expand your lower belly. Expand your lungs. And then stick out your tongue to release. Here, just notice the texture of your breath, the cadence, the sound, the sensation of the air coming into your body, and then the heat you're releasing. Notice the pace that you need for inhalation versus exhalation. And just be observational rather than judgmental. Your breath can be used as a reset before competition, after mistakes made at practice, in the middle of a break. Your breath is your life force and vitality, and it can always be used as an opportunity to reset. And now draw your awareness inward towards your thoughts. Take a moment to arrive on what they're telling you. If they're judgmental, compassionate, turned inward, busy with your to-do lists, can you place each thought onto a cloud out in front of you and just allow the thought to gently float onward and away? And as you do that, can you offer yourself gentle thoughts that align with everything you're doing well, everything you're accomplishing, everything about you as a human being? Can you create loving and kind thoughts to others, especially in this community right now, that are helpful, gentle, supportive, intentional? And can you then turn all of those thoughts in towards yourself? Perhaps you don't resist it. You just let it land. Can you ask yourself now, who am I if I'm not performing or taking on roles for other people? Who am I outside of my sport? Who am I outside of being a student? Who am I outside of being a teammate, a sister, a brother, a child, a friend, a sibling? What am I standing for as a human? Notice what comes up. No fixing, just awareness. And remind yourself, I am more than my roles. I am more than my stats. I am more than my grades, my identity, my future identity, who I am for others, and especially my performance. And lastly, we travel into the inner self, the part of you that is your full embodiment of existence. Can you let go of controlling the breath slightly to keep your breath slow and steady? And see if you can feel a sense of ease in that choice. There's nothing to prove. You are in full alignment with who you are and what you're meant to exist as. There's nothing to earn and nothing to do except exist unconditionally and exquisitely. So just breathe and exist unconditionally. Just sit with being enough, even without performing. Take another big breath in through your nose. Exhale, open mouth, exhale. When you're ready, slowly start to return to this space by bringing awareness back into your full body, into this present moment, into this space. So that is a quick mindful meditation that I made specifically for you all, for athletes, because you are so used to these identities that you hold in the roles that you play. And it's incredible and exquisite to be human and to be enough and to be here and just existing as you are. And so I hope that, drawing your awareness from the outer layers of yourself into the inner layer of yourself helped you just in that 5 minutes remind yourselves of just how remarkable you are for just existing and all the other things. Okay. So that's all I have for you today. We wanted to keep it short and sweet so that you could have fun and celebrate. And thank you so much for being a part of our Spirit Week. And thank you so much for letting me be a part of it as well. I love connecting with all of you, and I'm here for you if you need me. So, connect, send an email, send a DM. I'm Dr. Kate, psychologist. If you don't know me or haven't chatted with me,